Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK 2019. We are halfway through this series, potentially, because Hanwha Life looked dominant towards the later stages of that game. Number one against the Afreeca Freecs. Some changes going to be necessary moving into Game 2.
But what does it mean? Start to feel like they're a bit more clear, Atlas. It starts to feel like Hanwha Life are just on a slightly better level than Afreeca. Another level seems strong, because that's what we really anoint Griffin and SK Telecom T1 right now. But they were definitely cleaner. They were definitely able to find some advantages there. Wurm going to be feeling pretty good. Yes, there is the bless you to Wurm. The only of the coaching staff of Hanwha Life still in the booth. Unsure what that means for the rest of them. We will soon be able to confirm a roster change, as the jungle change we alluded to is going to come in.
Yes, and I don't think any could have been more obvious than that one. Dread will be subbing in for Spirit in that jungle position. Whether it'll be enough to get them over the line here as MVP on your screen. Lava had a great performance on the Galio, but I want to sort of throw out some honorable mentions. Tal had a great performance that game, as well as Sangyun being able to do everything up until that weird dive at the very end of the game, but otherwise kept himself out of trouble, farmed up, and was the Kai'Sa that the team needed.
I do like the MVP voters didn't just go to the flashy Sangyun, because it felt like everyone else had to get all the ducks in a row for him to just mow down as the Kai'Sa, and I think that the tank line was really to benefit there. So Tal and Lava, I think, are the two big ones there. Lava, our first AP Galio, turns out still a good AP Galio.
Yes.
And the mention of the jungle that we alluded to very early, the change has come in. Dread, the relentlessly aggressive choice of jungle on the side of Afreeca, will probably be looking to strap on a Camille or something like that, a really aggressive invading jungler. The Kindred is probably his most famous pick, and I, for one, would love to see a pick that was actually being discussed on the LEC broadcast. Hail of Blades Kindred sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, the old anything that's got any sort of auto reset is just a good champion with Hail of Blades idea, and Dance of Arrows certainly
you're
something
gonna get
we can use for that.
That Wolf, the third proc there, really damn fast.
Yeah.
And then still have multiple Qs to bounce around.
It's just frightening, Papa Smithy, but we'll see whether it is going to be banned away, whether Hanwha Life Esports have a way of dealing with it. Certainly a lot of different options, and Bono is no slouch when it comes to the early game. We all saw what he did to score on his Olaf in game number 2 against KT Rolster.
And Afreeca Freecs, when we do get into the pick ban, what's with leaving lots of stuff open and then not really getting much? Because it did feel like that happened if you go back and think about it. When it came to tier list, they got a Lissandra. No one's first picking that. The Aatrox was second round. If you remember, they claimed the Victor first pick, and again, that part was fine, but for their strategy of banning away first round picks that weren't as popular, it felt like they were undone by Hanwha Life, who kind of gleefully put together Urgot, S tier, Galio, S tier, Xin Zhao, probably the strongest blind pick jungler, and Tahm Kench's Kai'Sa are definitely no slouches either. So here we go. Second time's the charm for Nofe and Afreeca Freecs.
Yep, Afreeca moving over to the red side. Maybe they can utilize the red side like they did much of 2018 to great effect, and Hanwha Life Esports wanting to put it away 2-0 with this victory here. Much better than their victory over KT Rolster, and really affirming them in that top 5 here in the LCK will mean that for match score, we'll have 5 teams at 2-0 and 5 teams at 0-2. However, Afreeca have a chance to bite back, and they've got some big jaws in Dread in the jungle.
Urgot and Galio are the most common first picks we're seeing. Will either of them be banned in this particular draft? Relia taken away. Akali is a sometimes champion, not an always champion, but can frequently fill a ban spot as well. Waiting here for Hanwha Life and their decision.
Will it be the Aatrox, or will it be something else that's going to be banned? Last for Afreeca Freecs, Camille. Going to be taken away from Dread, like you say.
So this is why I like the Camille ban. Yes, Dread is a great Camille, and he'll play it aggressively like we saw on FLICKR do to great extent, but it's also a blind pick aggressive jungler that kind of always fits into a comp, and Galio Camille could be first round on the red side. Instead, now if Dread wants to get a reliable aggressive jungler, maybe he has to actually occupy the 5th pick on red spot to actually get the sort of matchup he wants. So even interacting with something like that is a nice benefit, and the cost is just a single ban on blue side.
Yeah, well, speaking of that blue side, the Aatrox is going to be locked in here for Hanwha Life Esports. This time around, other notable names left available other than those that Afreeca are hovering is the Akali. Still something that they could head towards if anyone would like to. Rakan available as well. Lissandra going to be there, and Dread going to lock that one away alongside, once again, that Victor that they locked in so quickly the last time.
The Nocturne is the variable that won't be locked in. It's just a hover in this game. You would never lock in Nocturne first round because Ezreal's open, so you can't even just kill an immobile AD carry, guaranteed, with that particular champion. So a bit of mind games there from Dread.
Or just having a bit of a laugh.
Exactly.
Based on what Spirit was doing.
He might be mind gaming his own team. We don't know. As Hanwha Life, they see Alessandra and they say thank you very much. Tom Kent's going to be a nice quasi-answer to this.
Is it the time Ezreal to come out? Hanwha Life Esports have loved it so far, but no, they were pretty happy with that lane. First hover will be on the Kai'Sa.
Ezreal would be my first expectation,
Mine
but
too.
The confidence is there, obviously, on the side of Hanwha Life. They continue the hover. Do they accept the Ezreal? Do they stick with the Kai'Sa? They stick with it. Okay. Respect to Hanwha Life for going with what worked. The Rakan, purely a Rakan, remember, because Xayah can be easily banned, can be put out here, but now you're in that weird spot of Hanwha Life where, on the one hand, do you know the duo lane, or on the other hand, do you just confirm the duo lane by banning the Xayah? Both ways can make you feel a bit sheepish, so there is a bit of a mind game here for Hanwha Life.
I'd expect a flex of the Victor out of the bottom lane if the Rakan is there. I don't necessarily feel like that lane will be able to punish the Kai'Sa very well, but it's just me. The Nocturne going to be the answer here, get it away from Dread. Find that to be an interesting ban.
No Urgot, Galio, or Sion. This draft could go many different places.
It's a new one.
In the second round. It's a brand new day. You talked about a beautiful day in game number 1. I'm not willing to call it that just yet, but we'll wait and see if Bono is there. Final ban here for Hanwha Life Esports. Looking for potentially another Dread champion. Again, this guy is a huge invading jungler. They will just ban away the Xayah to try to pigeonhole bot lane as another Kai'Sa farm lane. Like you say, does feel more like a keen top lane on the Victor this time, as will aiming be locking in the Kha'Zix, a perennial favorite of our aggressive junglers, when the Camille is gone.
Well, that is going to be the case, so they're going to hold on to that flexibility for as long as possible. Makes a whole lot of sense. I don't think last picking for Dread is worth it when you got flex picks that go this far. Bono thinking about the Sejuani. This would be a step away from where he's found success. Remember, that one loss that he had was on the Zac, a slower jungler, something that won't have that agency in the first few levels. 1 second to go. And it will be... Oh, no, it won't. It'll be LeBlanc picked up for Lava, one of his old favorites.
And a champion that was banned in game number 1.
Yeah.
So maybe they had more of a read than we appreciated. Always cool to see a LeBlanc, one of the few non-flex picks we see in the current meta. And Bono adjusts because, well, Lava and Bono don't want to be dictated to. They want to be dictators. They're doing the best Castro here because they've got the LeBlanc and Olaf to do some invading and play on the front foot. Whatever ends up being the lane assignments, we've never had a Nico or Garen, the only two champions never picked in the LCK. That stat will continue. A draft that was screaming for an Ezreal gets one, but on the side of Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, the draft was screaming for it. Wasn't on this side of the rift, though, as aiming will be picking that one up. Ezreal Rakan certainly got a lot of slipperiness there towards the bottom side of the map, but can they punish Ki and Sangyun enough on this hyper-scaling bottom duo? That is the question. A very different draft here from Hanwha Life Esports if you look at the top side of the map. Yes, Olaf is going to be going aggressive, but they don't have the pseudo tanks anymore. Tal is going to be on way more damage here in the Aatrox, as well as the LeBlanc being so different from the utility of the Galio.
The only way this draft actually has, to me, kind of trump cards in the early game, really good win conditions to start an eventual win for Afreeca, is if Lissandra and Kha'Zix are on the front foot and finding Olaf and killing him in his jungle. Because otherwise, LeBlanc and Olaf, if they're doing the spotting, can easily take down a target with a lot of stickiness and so much mobility on the duo. However, if you feast on the Olaf and get him behind, it's going to require Lissandra to be rotating. Very, very tricky. I think the execution edge is required by Afreeca because Kai'Sa and Tahm Kench are going to farm freely against Ezreal Rakan in the bot side. Top lane, very difficult to pull off ganks. So mid-jungle versus mid-jungle, I think Afreeca Freecs need to start there if they're going to pick up a game victory, and they don't want to join all those other big orgs, 0-4, at the end of week 1.
Absolutely. There are 4 others, and Afreeca are on the precipice of falling down to meet them as well. So very scary stuff if you're an Afreeca Freecs fan. Certainly All of our teams that went over to Worlds have had the worst possible week thus far. KT Rolls are the only team capable of taking even a game.
We're not best of ones here. We're best of threes, so one game is not enough. Will one game get Afreeca back on course? This one we'll find out.
And unfortunately, guys, we are going to start the game with a little bit of a pause. As you can see, we get this beautiful zoom out, though, in sepia mode and see that everyone is in very defensive formation.
And
so
now we get to see our beautiful visages as well.
Can we just say faces?
No.
I don't want to be a visage.
Why?
It makes me sound like a mirage. I'm real, I promise.
You're a facade.
A facade? A facade, if you will? That's closer to face. I'll take that.
That sounds like the mid laner of SKT.
Facker?
Yeah.
Oh, Faker, I think, is who you were talking about.
It rhymes with shaker.
It does, which rhymes with shaker.
Well, it seems like we're having some headset issues for Proud. Some Proud headset issues, if you will.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that proud. Sorry, it was his mouse. Take it all.
Oh, it's generalized.
I take it all back. It's not a headset issue. He must be using a Sennheiser headset because, of course, would never have an issue at all. But the Afreeca Freecs having a few more issues than just the mouse of Proud.
Just so many more issues than we could have predicted because, again, like, what a badass top side of the map. It feels like if you're the GM who's in charge of making these decisions, you're like, man, I got keen UCAL spirit. Like, that's right up there. However, the KT guy was pretty happy too. Now, he had more problems because he had no AD carry, and that was obviously a bit of a problem. But you have Aiming, who is, you know, very reliable, and if also not had taking it to the next level just yet.
And he'd been playing recently very well outside of competitive play.
He was a
so
4-5 AD carry, which at least you've got one of those. KT had literally no AD carry, so that was a bigger problem. And yet, the top trios not mattering, which is
wasn't what we were expecting moving into this this theoretical meta as we may have put
And your
it
problem
forward
is,
before.
then you're like, all right, what does the Occam's Razor suggest? Does it suggest that actually it's bot lane carry? Then you're like, wait, Damwon Gaming is winning with Vladimir last picks
is like
and
actually
maximizing their very mechanical top laners. Nuguri Showmaker, Keen UCAL, it should be a wash, right? This should be just epic excitement on both sides, and whoever's better on the day pops off and wins. And yet, teams haven't been able to minimize their problems and maximize their advantages so far. That's actually been a lot more rickety than we might have predicted. And now we're in a spot where Afreeca could really go 0-4, even if they should feel pretty good about their offseason.
And I feel like one of the only teams that actually does sort of prove the first theory of, you know, maybe the bottom lane is just really strong is SKT. Teddy has looked absolutely dominant. Marta as well down there alongside him. That bottom lane has been where they've been more playing around. You know, Khan has been struggling a little bit in certain instances.
If the Fiora hadn't worked, I'm right there with you. But the Fiora worked, and that was what I said was so important to me. They won 4-0, that's great. But the fact that they could put Fiora or Jace on Khan and carry, that strategy can happen in 2019, means you can't just go, all right, bot lane bans, let's deal with that. There are potential fires that can still be started by Khan, and if Faker has one of his pop-off games, then suddenly everything's coming together because the other members have been very, very good and very, very consistent. So, yeah, it's situational. It does feel like we're getting that real extension of the offseason. You know, now we're in that weird spot where the ranked season hasn't started yet, and it feels like the ranked season hasn't started for Afreeca Freecs, Gen G, KT. It feels like they are still in off-season mode because the results just aren't coming together.
Yeah, we just need to finish off our placements here in the LCK. Everyone needs to finish their placements so we understand where they're actually going to stack.
Well, the placements right now suggest the climb is going to be real for some of our orgs.
Yeah, some of our orgs that may have even made it over to
bombed
MSI
the placements,
and Worlds last year, the placements have most certainly been bombed. You're exactly right.
Hey, you shouldn't play your placements when you're tilted, when you're not your best self. And I have to say, it doesn't feel like we've seen the best self of Afreeca Freecs, KT, or Gen G.
Yep, or Kingzone as well. I mean, we saw them earlier on today. I know you didn't really want to remember, and so we're going to try and forget by watching Hanwha Esports in game number 2 against the Afreeca Freecs. See whether they can continue to play aggressively. I love seeing the Olaf out of Bono. He's got a couple of bans so far since his first victory. And now he's got himself a visual bug as well. And a bug in his vision, as Dread was actually spotted, I believe, by Hanwha Life Esports.
Sorry, I was distracted by our cool ads at the bottom of the screen. No sellout, really was distracted.
And no wires, no limits. You guys were talking about wireless mice and how you get nervous.
BDD is making me nervous now that I'm thinking about this again.
Have you used that mouse before?
No, it's probably great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but what if you ran out of battery?
Oh,
that's
or attack
awkward.
Speed.
He has 40% attack speed if you got W. Didn't skill the W. No ward for you.
Feels bad. He wanted to throw axes, Papa Smithy. Can you deny a man an axe?
Hey, ask him a question.
Well, he axed us a question, and we said, you should have taken W.
I've never seen that Aatrox skin. Is that Prestige Aatrox?
Yeah, it's the one that everyone loves on Reddit.
I mean, it looks pretty cool. What's not to love, right?
Yeah. I like Blood Moon. That's my personal favorite.
I feel like we're going to get a note from Riot now.
Yeah, we are. It's going to say, nice job, guys.
Freelance casters, by the way.
There we go. Well, Yukal, he's going to get electrocuted, but still win a trade here in the mid lane. Can be a little bit difficult in the earlier levels here for the LeBlanc, but Lava gets onto a champion that has been banned away from him in games past, and we'll see whether he's going to prove himself or not.
Level 1 can actually be really painful if you go for the Mirror Corrupting Potion start. You can opt into some of those Lissandra trade damage, just out-damage her, so nice little stuff there from Lava. No cleanse because of the respect of the potential Lissandra into Kha'Zix's burst. Does mean the burst range is lower. We were looking for Yukal and Dread to invade on Olaf against a cleanse LeBlanc. You can be a bit more proactive, Atlas.
That's a really cute read coming in from Bono as well, as he wanders over a ward, yes, but there's nothing Dread can do. He is all the way topside, trying to get that full topside clear. We'll be able to take down that blue buff straight into this Rift Scuttler. Bono off to a pretty great start. We'll see whether he can get around and actually take down his own blue, or whether Dread is going to get there after having a little bit of a pit stop on the top side. Dread spotted on that ward, pinged out immediately, and as that Rift Scuttler is taken, I believe Bono should be able to make his way over. Chains, are they going to land? Yukal, yes, has to flash, but can't take the claw, and the flash in from Bono picks up first blood, and his Olaf, again, has to be respected.
Oh, what a disaster. They had the information edge. There was no counter game possible. Great play from Hanwha Life Esports. We said that Yukal and Dread needed to be the carry here in the early game, and it's already the reverse in game number 2.
That early game navigation from Bono is on a complete other level, though. As he
Who is this guy? And
I don't know.
He just took someone's name, and suddenly he takes the old Bono, throws it out, and the new Bono's so much better.
If only you two could have done the same thing.
Maybe Bono came off tour finally, and now we get to see him in the LCK.
It's beautiful, as he's going to have a massive lead in the health bar against Dread. They're going to go for the smite battle, and the patience is running thin, and Dread is able to steal that one away. The inside track there from Keen. Going to give it over to the Afreeca Freecs, so good respect being paid there by Bono, but lucky that there's no 3-buff.
And the point you mentioned earlier, being spotted on the vision, now suddenly you can flash forward. The snare there was going to stop the glacial path, if you're wondering why. He decided to keep going there. And just no way out. Well played by the duo there, and very good communication from Bono and Lava.
Well, Tal here towards the top side. We'll see what he can make of this Aatrox. Taking a bit of a reverse matchup, but no Urgot in this game, so...
That looks like a Keyblade, doesn't it?
It does.
Weird.
I feel like so his sword looks very much like a sword, right? But I feel like the rest of his body is this weird white mess, and I don't really understand what it is.
I feel like that sword will hurty him less than the previous sword looked to hurty.
That's true. And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Probably
False sense
a bad
of security,
thing.
Or...
I mean, a blunt sword, a blunt weapon, only Jax gets away with that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I remember the Reddit post, though, about how having a fishing rod was cheating.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be hit with a fishing rod.
No.
Or be a fish and get caught by a fishing rod. I feel in both ways painful.
It sounds awful.
Well, Yukal screams a bit. It's kind of a Lissandra thing to do. They really need to find a way with level 6 to actually punish specifically Bono, but Bono's going to be level 6 before too long. His early jungle's gone pretty well, and Dread can do some counter jungling, but not much more.
And what has continued in this game is having a lot of vision control, where Hanwha Life wants it around this map. Top side of the map is exactly where Bono wants to have it. And he's got the control ward, a couple of extra wards. And we'll now take down this Krug camp. Not going to get pinged, as that's the mini wave getting pinged out, saying just don't move in front of that one because that's where the wave is. He wasn't spotted. Wave going to crash. Tal moves back towards the top side after grabbing the soldier build and a rock.
We've never mentioned bot lane ever since it was locked in for this particular reason. It's CS for CS on both sides. And, well, you get a Baron buff and you start poking down Kai'Sa, and that's fine for the Ezreal. You don't, and you start team fighting. That's pretty good for Songyun on the Kai'Sa. So, very much a 50-50 on the bot side. The mid lane's been anything but 50-50.
Well, Bono's going to Predator forward. Yukao gets hit by the first one as in goes Dread. Lava trying to find more. Bono going to be the first one to go down. Can we get the distortion damage? Dread going to fall. So it is a 1-for-1 in the end, and Yukao going to have control of this lane afterwards.
Close to trading up, but probably no trade up because of the first blood earlier. We talked about level 6 from Yukao. They do get a kill from it, but just a trade between Hanwha Life and Afreeca Freecs mid-jungle duos.
Wow, Songyun able to sidestep that one. Proud having to make his way all the way out. Rakan very squishy. Songyun with that full Q smashing into the Rakan is bad news. Not a lot of mana here on the Kai'Sa, who hasn't been back to base just yet. Same thing can be said for aiming. He does have that teleport available, and Key and Songyun both have theirs as well, so they can reset whenever they want. Probably looking to go back with BF Sword money. Continue their push on the bottom side. Let's check out this one again as Bono does manage to get the kill onto Dread, but I feel like that may have been a little bit of visual bug action because it looked like they didn't know that Dread was actually in there.
I think the most important thing for me is that Yukao chose the aggressive ult rather than the self ult. It's level 5, so obviously the CC effect is going to decrease damage, so I think it was the right call. Bono and Tala now actually the combined invade duo, and Kha'Zix definitely not going to be taking any direct paths to this buff.
Yeah. Actually, I take it all back. I think that skin looks kind of cool. It looks a little bit like Xin Zhao, though, which is a little bit scary.
Well, we're going to see it up and close very soon because we're looking for a turret dive.
Yep, World Ender going to come in. Tal just going to try and tank up this turret for as long as possible, and there it is. WR, and then you're dead. And then the World Ender is going to be procced, so they don't even need to expend anything to get the kill onto Keen.
Keen's smooth moves in the quarterfinal were the only good news story for Afreeca Freecs at Worlds 2018. No smooth moves are going to get you through that one. You got the champion who can tank the turret, and you've got plenty of burst from Lava. Goodbye to the victor. No teleport to return to lane, so how about some extra gold to Tal?
Yep, no flash there as well, and Tal didn't have to use his, so now going to have a lane advantage on top of everything else. And grabs that first turret plate at the same time, making his way back into this lane, feeling pretty comfortable. There's the QW combo, lands the chain. Point blank as well as Bono does get onto him with the undertow, and Dread trying to take down the LeBlanc, but the Deceive is going to be good enough to get him out of the way.
But you do see what we were alluding to. There is ways with burst, and that is what Kha'Zix and Lissandra provide to get picks on Bono and Lava. This is really the only way I can see Afreeca playing this how they need to. Because of trading up, they can also go contest the red buff, but for now at least, Dread might be overextended.
Yep, the lick is not going to land there, and Dread is able to steal that one away. As there's the flash forward from Key. Really wants to get into this fight as there it is! Killer Instinct comes in! And the Catfish picks up the kill on the bug. They're trying to go in. The Abyssal Voyage now on cooldown, unable to get on top of Yukao. He's slippery with that Claw of Doom and gets himself to safety.
And the red buff is passed over awkwardly to the Tom Catch. Not last auto attack from Songyun. Kill credit goes to the side of Hanwha Life. Bit of greed being shown by Afreeca.
Yep, another chain going to land here onto Yukao, but Lava takes the wrong end of that trade. It's Tal that's able to offer something in here for the extra damage. An Infernal Drake going down as Dragon number 1. 1.2 thousand gold. Going to be the lead here for Hanwha Life Esports. Fantastic news story early.
On a day with a lot of peripheral issues, I'd like to see them check the chains that the Lava's been using.
Yeah, man,
he's
threading him.
This wasn't a threading. This was just a summoner used by Key. Able to go in there. Dread caught with his hand in the cookie jar, literally. Sadly, for Songyun, doesn't pick up the red buff here to start bossing around the duo lane. And while I like the combat Abyssal Voyage, a short path is up to stop there being a further kill.
Leap down, cooldown, Dread. Unable to turn this one around against Tal, most likely. Could have Umbral dashed up that wall, but wants to hold on to the charge. As the Rift Scuttler will at least go over to the Afreeca Freecs. Well, Lava should be able to get this blue buff delivered very easily. Yukao continues pushing forward. He does have about a 20 CS advantage. We knew that this guy, like the young mechanics man, the man with all the confidence moving into LCK for 2019, we knew what he could do, what he was capable of. He was brilliant. He saved KT Rolster. He's the reason why they were our summer champions. But what can he do to help his team now? Has a lot that he can affect with this Lissandra as Keen takes a lot of damage from Tal.
Remember, Keen was so good in this matchup at Worlds. So.
Yeah.
Turret plating's new, the matchup's the same, and Keen will be just happy enough to skate around and frustrate Tal.
He just wanders around. I feel like it doesn't matter which champion he's on, he just understands how to play against this Aatrox, and Tal looking a little bit frustrated.
I miss his Darius, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
If Summit can play it, why can't Keen?
Exactly.
As Keen's going to find a LeBlanc.
There's another World Ender. The Umbral Dash is going to get him out of the way of the gravity field as Keen's trying to use that extra movement speed, but it just doesn't matter. Presses W in his general vicinity, and he dies.
Short nerf on the duration, not enough. Still going to get the revive there is the Aatrox. He stands up. He feels good. He knows that Lava did the heavy lifting, and if Yukal's only getting most of a turret point there and turret plate, it's not enough.
Well, Lava does land a little bit of a combo, but will take a lot more damage in return. 3-0 and 1. He's been roaming a lot, which is why the 20 CS gap is there. Yukal not able to make up for it with that one assist, so Lava will still be in a lot of control here in mid.
I need to see Lava miss a chain. It'll make me feel better about my own play.
Oh, man, I know.
And I don't even play LeBlanc because she's too hard. Lets you know that I'm playing very inadequate at the moment.
Yeah, me too, don't worry. We're both in the old man club. Valdez is still in the I can play the game club, and
he doesn't
really
dare
depressing.
play LeBlanc, though.
No one would.
Hey!
Hey, there we go. He missed the chain. I feel like he did that for you. This is what...
Nice chain, bro.
Dude,
yeah.
Booths.
I found a time to trash talk.
Booths.
I didn't have any
They seem to
time
be able
before.
to listen all the time as Lava misses that chain as well, or doesn't actually throw it out. Cal gets out. Oh, dear.
Take that, Lava.
You got him.
Only as good as your last chain, bro.
How am I going to lose this series? There's a heads up. Bramble back going to spawn. Yukal coming over just to make sure that he can actually take it. Not going to deny the popcorn chickens either, but control ward vision available for Hanwha Life Esports around this top side. But a cheeky ward should help the Afreeca Freecs understand where the movements of this Olaf actually are.
And Afreeca Freecs, if they could have the full information here, are behind, as you'd expect, but not in a Titanic way just yet. They still do have the ability to get a lot of burst onto one person, and that burst and the poke of Ezreal will serve them well in the mid-game if, and I mean if, they can stem the bleed. They need to make some smart moves in the future. Key has Ghost, so he can afford to be lumbering around a little bit on this time. He's got Swifty boots.
That's smart, boy.
Damn.
Oh, my favorite boots in the entire game, as you know all too well, Papa Smithy.
We did have a ranked team called Swifty Gunbladers for a reason.
We did, and we built them on every champion you could.
You know what? Purchase may vary on whether Swifty Gunblade was the right choice per champion. Jax was all right with it.
I liked your Fiddlesticks. That was my favorite.
Hey, I needed more crowd control.
Gotta slow him, man. I get it. You get more drain value.
It's so I could walk past them and terrify them in the other direction.
I don't think Terrify worked that way at that point.
Revisionist history. No one has that ranked history,
yes.
Atlas.
Sorry. Okay, Hanwha Life, though, still feeling very happy. Moving towards that 3,000 gold lead is key. Avoiding a lot of these spells quite nicely. I want to talk about this bottom lane a little bit, because both of these champions are sort of 2-item power spike into late game carry in this sort of iteration of what Ezreal was, because Ezreal's been a lot of different things throughout the years, and at the moment with the double tier build, he does so much damage in the later stages of the game.
Now they're not 100% the same in that way as bot lane.
It's not the same as Proud is going to jump forward. Devour is going to be used to try and keep Sungin alive, but it ain't going to work. Dread just explodes him. The Catfish going to fall down afterwards, and Afreeca Freecs find the kill on the back of their rookie in Proud.
Proud's best moment comes 14 minutes into game number 1 of his career on the Afreeca Freecs. Very nicely done. Their proactive play gets them the Infernal as well.
They'll get a charge in this mid lane, though, and Hanwha Life Esports are going to answer with first turret in the mid lane. First Infernal over for Afreeca Freecs, but Hanwha Life already have one of those in the bank. It's not going to answer the gold too much, and it looks like HLE is going to get some more work done here in the inner turret in mid.
Won't be able to complete that turret, and Afreeca go bot lane. Try to get a bot lane turret of their own. They're actually pulling back very defensively here. They know the Abyssal Voyage could be used, and we know that's been used a lot more defensively than Afreeca could have predicted.
Yep.
Gets them back to lane. No answering turret, but a nice moment for Afreeca in a week that's been pretty lean on those.
Yes. Not going to actually have any effect on what the gold looks like, as this whole minion wave was scooped up by Hanwha Life, and now Lava is looking for aiming. Chain's going to miss once again. So Papa Smithy's happy about that. Hanwha Life fans, definitely not.
He may be off on the chain, but it does mean that Ezreal fully disengages from the turret. and they take it down. So Hanwha Life get a second turret Atlas, and that's much more the important bookkeeping than we need to do, rather than how many chains have been hitting lately. Let's watch the replay. This is really clean from Proud. Begins with the ult because he knows he's going to clip on the way, and he needs to clip Tom Kench to stop the Abyssal Voyage from happening there. No Abyssal Voyage, no chance of living. A nice cleanup by Afreeca Freecs.
Yep. Had the Grey Health at pretty much the perfect time, did Key, but that ain't going to help you if there's that much damage available for the Afreeca Freecs. How can Hanwha play around this now? Key has the answer. He wants to go and lick someone, I think. Get some more wards down. And this top side going to get cleared out by Hanwha Life.
I set up some control here. Right now, the mini-map shows us not a lot of wards on either side. Just some global objectives going down 1 for 1. This will be Afreeca's first turret of the game. And the bottom side, the Infernals are also even between the two.
This game, in fact, extremely even. The gold may tell you otherwise, but a lot of that will be shored up if another one of these turrets will fall down.
I wanted to hit on Ezreal versus Kai'Sa, because we do say 2-item carry versus 2-item carry in many ways. The only difference I want to specifically talk about is if you're mid lane, have already got the bot lane turret and mid lane wave clearing, Ezreal is better because Ezreal in that case has poke. However, the 2 items on Kai'Sa, better for team fighting. If you can actually use your Kai'Sa ult to gap close, that's where your 2-item spike is stronger. Speaking of 2-item spike 80 carries, aiming has to run. And there's a lot of gap close coming.
Yeah, Abyssal Voyage, but that's right into the quickness. A lot of damage now, but Sungyun keeps himself alive with the killer instinct. And that is more kills coming in for Lava. Lands the Mimic Chains onto aiming, but he's not going to survive for that long. As Lava jumps on top of him, Keen finds himself on the wrong side of the rift as Tal is chasing forward. Afreeca
He got him as well. He hit all 3 there. Mr. Lava. Lava popped off in that fight. The replay will confirm it. Sungyun's hunting for Victor.
Wow, I thought that would have hit. That's sort of like, feels like the visual bug should have been there, but Sungyun's still going to be awarded the kill on the Victor.
It feels like chains for Lava are like how Critical Strike works. He missed 3, so of course he has to hit the next 3.
Yeah.
Watch the replay here. This is really well done by Lava. He's far away. Iceborne Gauntlet proc slows him down. But watch the team fight. Starts off by being knocked up, frustrated at this point. But then from here, it's the first chain on Proud to kill him. The second one flashed into to get there. If we track him for the third, it doesn't end up being consequential, but he actually snipes Dread through about 700 minions on the top side.
We are going to watch it.
Let's watch it here. Watch this third chain, which, why did he even go for it? Gets that one as well. Legit awesome on his accuracy there. Well, he showed me.
Yeah, that was just ludicrous. I'd report for scripting if I knew that it was impossible on these PCs.
Well,
this guy. He's walking the dog. He's actually just walking the dog. That's what he's doing today. He's just putting a leash on everyone.
And this is why I was talking about a Lava Award during the Kesper Cup, and to me that is defined as the award of a player who
it's like
you
a
had
most improved,
no expectations of, and then came together as one of the real big contenders. You could say a SMEB award, but to me that's too much of a disparity from 0 to hero, basically.
Yeah.
But Lava went from 11th, 12th best mid laner in a league with 10 teams to easy top 5, 5, 6 at worst. And then now, maybe he's got a teammate who's doing the same because Bono is going way up the tier list as well.
I just don't know how we're even talking about these two players as being in this particular position because Lava honestly felt like he was standing...
I know what you're trying to say, but just the starting position for Bono...
Yeah, I know. It's out of control. Makes absolutely no sense. Wow.
Well,
this is the world we live in.
Yeah, they're pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Hanwha Live, Sandbox, Jin Air. We were 2 out of 3 wrong on the teams that we thought would not be contenders.
Yeah.
Whatever happens here for Hanwha Live.
And I wanted to talk about this earlier on, but didn't really have an opportunity to, as this Mountain Drake is going to be started up and most likely secured from Hanwha Live, given their vision control advantage. But what I wanted to talk about was the MVP. The MVP points that have gone to Hanwha Live have so far been Lava, Bono, and Tal. And they've still been playing around Sungyun. In their first series, it was Tal and Bono that picked up the MVPs, and it was Sungyun that did 38% of their damage. And it just shows that this team is so good at facilitating what their carry needs to do. This is a different team composition. This is about more damage and more, I guess, insurance on the side of the actual solo laners themselves. But it is really beautiful seeing this roster come together and be able to build themselves into a unit.
And you know who's happiest? Hearing that they've got no MVPs and this team is winning, it's actually Sungyun. Because Sungyun finally has all the pieces around him to be what he's been for about 2 years now. Ever since he no longer was with Snowflower and came with Key, he's always been way better than you'd think and very reliable at carrying in the late game. Now he gets to the late game on even gold or better because the rest of his team has leveled up around him, and he's still doing his job, even if the MVP points aren't going to him.
Yeah, he's looking great. 1-1-3 this game, has himself a bounty. It's all about Lava, though. This guy's got 2 items, Morellonomicon, Luden's Echo, as well as a cheeky book, and he's maxed out his ring. And they're clearing out vision, looking to push things forward, and you can see it's suffocation vision being put down. This is what we've commended so many teams for in the past. If you're feeling confident, if you're winning, this is how you get picks in the mid-game. What else do you want to do when you've got the Undertow available, when you've got the chains that are magnetic from Lava?
Hanwha Life can do whatever they want because that's the reason why I was so zoomed in on, all right, Yukal and Dread, you need to outplay the 2v2 mid-jungle. Hold the point as Keen's getting collapsed on again.
Yeah, he ain't going to be outplaying this one, I don't think. Does have himself the Chaos Storm, but that is not enough Chaos, and even the buffed up True Shot Barrage will not deter them from taking down this turret.
Again, the reason why I needed Afreeca Freecs to get a meaningful lead early to mid is how do they do things right now as Rakan will slowly
more chains do come in. He does have to use the quickness to try and stop Lava from killing him. Dread's down, lots of burst, but the Ignite not going to be enough.
What you're seeing right now is that Afreeca can't do much. The Lissandra isn't going to be going for any flanks. The Aatrox is just getting so much help to shut down Keen. On the side lane, they don't have initiation outside of Rakan, but they have nothing to follow up on with that. Victor and Rakan couldn't be more different champions. Rakan's going way in. Victor's like, I need to catch up. I got the slow bus over here. That's the problem, is that Hanwha Life, on balance, can do lots of different things, and even the Abyssal Voyage to cheat and skip over some steps when it comes to vision. And Afreeca just kind of have to grin and bear it and hope for a mistake.
Yeah, and a lot of our Victors have been feeling like this as well. It feels like you play Victor in the, not necessarily on the bottom side of the map, but our top lane Victors have been suffering. 0-4-0 for Keen. Man who's been so good. Bono might be caught out here. Ragnarok pop, flash pop, everything on cooldown, but he does get himself away from the death chamber.
That's a little bit of an overextension. You can't make every correct play if you're Bono. On balance, having a fantastic week 1 of the LCK. That doesn't mean the enemy smite is vacant for now. Yep. So at minimum, some control around this Scuttle Crab should be picked up.
This ward will be cleared by Lava. Last tick of his sweeper. And control wards now should be taken away by the Afreeca Freecs. There was a lot of control vision on the top side of the map for Hanwha Life, as our visual bug there means that Keen wasn't actually going over to give Hanwha Life Esports a hug. Death Ray does come in, bit of damage.
I don't think Hanwha Life need the hugs just yet.
No, but Keen, he might, because he is almost dead. Sangyun, if he didn't want to take down that turret, could have potentially tried to hit a W and just finished him off after the ultimate, but doesn't actually get there.
You know, I can see the LeBlanc ban that Lava did in game number 1.
Lava
received like in game number 1.
I can't remember the bans in the first series as well, but I think maybe there was a LeBlanc coming in there.
If you're asking where the LeBlanc ban comes from, it's that Lava, when he was role swapping from support, as he was the support trainee next to aiming, his actual enemy in this particular game, the enemy AD carry. Yep. Taehoon was his name as a SK Telecom T1 trainee alongside aiming. His big champion when role swapping was Taliyah and LeBlanc. LeBlanc was his first love, so he's played a lot of LeBlanc. He's played it a bit in solo queue recently, and I guess the scrims also have been pretty kind to his LeBlanc because he's popping off in this game.
And he was playing support LeBlanc as well, which has a lot more focus on landing those chains. Otherwise, you just don't have any ability to do anything in the lane or affect it because you just don't have the damage.
Well, Afreeca are in formation, and we know that Ezreal's sieging is much stronger after the change to W.
Hanwha can't actually engage just yet as the Aatrox still trying to move forward. Yukal takes so many shots from that Q from Sangyun.
Lava walks up with Sweeper. There's no wards down here from Afreeca Freecs, and Lava's being a jerk because it's Kha'Zix, and any damage is going to be relevant burst.
He's just popping around this map. Mountain Drake just spawned.
Speaking of popping, he's got a pretty sweet book.
He does. He built the book. I like it.
He hasn't finished reading it yet, but, you know?
He was Lord of the Rings, and then he built the full novel.
What book did he buy?
Well, that was the confusing part, because he had the ring, and now he's got the book. I don't know. I feel like that's going backwards. So I confused myself. I'm not going to lie. Maybe it's turning the Hobbit into Lord of the Rings.
Could be. Yeah. That would complete your analogy pretty well.
Yeah.
I was going to say that, even though, as you know, I'm not a a buff of the JRR token.
No, you're not much of a Lord of the Rings fan.
I'm all about League of Legends, baby.
Yep. Papa has one fandom that he follows.
Hey, I live sort of a full life.
Sort of a full life.
The viewers know I can't lie to them.
That's true. And look, we love you for being the League of Legends guy. You don't need to be into other stuff.
Wants to confirm his prestige. Prestiging in League of Legends is different to Call of Duty.
Wait, I thought you were franchise man.
Wait,
what's Call of Duty, Papa Smithy?
It's not a Riot game? The Call of Duty is what I felt last year doing every single broadcast, Atlas.
Oh, that's what it is.
It's
that's
the
why
duty
you're doing
to
all
the
5
LCK
days
fans.
this week. I get it. That Call of Duty, yes. Well, you have leveled up, Papa.
Thank you. I've prestiged.
You have prestiged super hard, much like Tal.
Oh, speaking of Tal.
Yep, he's going to dive into the back line, wants to use that World Ender for the speed, and does so. Aiming has to flash to get the hell out of there, but Lava says that you're dead, and he is. The kill's going to go over to Tal's, prestiging once again as Sangyun dives into the back line. Yukal wonders what the hell went wrong, and I'll give you the list, mate, because it is getting to be very long. Hanwha Life Esports now looking for even more as they ping the Baron.
The even more represents the Baron. Tal found backline access as a Aatrox, who spent the entire game whacking away on turrets and getting ganks for him. He returns the favor. Goodbye, Baron. It's even Tal's. As they back away, the gold lead is now out of order officially. It's 12,000 gold.
Yep.
How does Tal walk into the back line? This is very much the Midstone-style restaurant that had an opening for a walk-in, apparently, and Tal walks in. Sangyun joins him.
Did you
Happy
see
times.
what Lava did?
Yeah, it did.
Lava outplayed Proud about as much as you possibly could.
Well, you could
He
say...
flashed his whole body with the quickness, baited out the grand entrance. What?
You know what? He read him like a book, and you know what?
There we go.
He even got a signature in there to tune of 4.
He did. 4 extra signatures. It's like the whole League of Legends dev team, Papa Smithy. From back in the day.
I was going to say, I think it's quite big now.
It is big now, but when the game was first made, that's about it.
Biggest numbers from Yukal, but that's because it's a team effort on the side of Hanwha Life, and maybe that's, once again, going into the metaphor of LCK Spring, which is so much about doing it as a team, and it not being the sum of the names, but rather the sum of your practice and how on the ball you are. Hanwha Life are really on the ball as the poke starts, and the siege split push does as well.
And what we've been talking about when we talk about Afreeca Freecs being strong is, I might need to hold this thought for a moment. Key, Devour now on cooldown, flashes immediately after spitting Sangyun out. He has to flash now as well, grand entrance on top of the Catfish, and he's being given up for the Ghost as the rest of the map is being torn to shreds. Keen wondering where the hell his team has gone.
Well, he knows the Kench may be benched, but everybody else taking turrets, taking inhibitors, 2 inhibitors down. 1 to defend in mid.
Oh, Tal is just moving so damn fast. Tries to jump on top of Yukal, doesn't get any of the knockups, but they take down 2 inhibitors, and that is job done. Key, the sacrificial lamb. He's not a lamb, he's a catfish, but still able to make the sacrifice for his team.
Look, mixing our metaphors is one of our big things here on the LCK stream, Atlas.
True.
You know that very
I
well.
I butchered the Lord of the Rings one, so I feel like we can just go ham at this point.
Well, Afreeca Freecs in danger of butchering this series. 0-2 is about as butchered as it comes.
Yep.
Fnatic managed better, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that one.
Hanwha Life Esports pushing through mid.
Managing a 0-2 in a best-of-1 scenario is really impressive.
Now, another level.
Yeah, I'm very proud.
Hanwha Life Esports, they just want to take the third inhibitor, and then the minions will do the rest.
This one's going to go down, Tal. Once again, looking for that sweet play, but doing it with full vision available. Yukal going for the last desperation play. It didn't work out for Kingzone. Can it work out now for Hanwha Life? No! The first kill going to go over. Dread is going to fall down, but now Lava has all those pages torn out of his book. He's upset about that, but the rest of his team there for revenge. The knockups are now landing for Tal. Chaos Storm comes in. World Ender should keep Tal alive, but it doesn't even need to because the Nexus is being taken down, and Hanwha Life Esports get the 2-0 over Afreeca Freecs.
The hopes are no longer alive for Afreeca Freecs ending week 1 of the LCK with a single match win, and we get it confirmed that all those names count for so little in LCK Spring 2019. Afreeca Freecs, no match wins, no game wins to Kingzone, no game wins to Genji. A single game win to KT Rolster is the only game win for one of these famous old organizations. Hanwha Life are feeling good, and for good reason. They emerge with 2 match victories from a pretty tricky first week for them.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. The fact that Hanwha Life, after losing to KG Seoul in the Kesper Cup, the team of full amateurs, full rookies, come back, take down KT Rolster, followed by the Afreeca Freecs. Remember, 2 of the strongest teams in 2018. The top 2 representatives heading into Worlds for 2018. Just shows what a different year it has become. And not a lot has actually changed here on the side of Hanwha Life. The MVP, in fact, going over to Lava once again. The only man on the team with a double MVP. And the way he threaded the needle on those chains, I don't think there's any other option.
Worlds 2018, the LCK was represented by KT Rolster, Gen.G, and one other team, of course, the team we saw here in the Afreeca Freecs. Between them, they have won a single game, no matches, and 2 of those teams are 0-4 Atlas. You'd be a betting man to say that any of those 3 teams will be representing Korea again in 2019, and that sounds like a short-sighted thing to say after 1 week's matches, but it also sounds eerily like an accurate thing to say because so much work is done for all 3 of those organizations, and they'll be happy they've got the time. They're going to need it.
Well, if you look at the standings of 2018 Summer LCK, it's only Griffin that is still towards the top of those
5,
standings.
right?
Everybody else is in the bottom. It's SKT up there with them, but they weren't a top 5 team
7th.
At the end of 2018. Exactly right. It's all topsy-turvy. It's all switched around. It's out with the old and in with the new. I'm personally really excited about it. But what Hanwha have done tonight is showed us that it's not about being old or new. It's about being able to adapt, being able to change your play style, and be able to play together as a unit and not necessarily have the big names on your squad.
You can't look over this week and say the results have been a fluke, because they haven't.
No.
They've been reliable. We have no team 1-1. We have 2 0s and 0 2s, and not much in the middle. 1 3-game series. It's just opponents have been there, and they've been largely decimated by their opposition. And it's so weird.
And this series told us that that wasn't a fluke from Hanwha as well. We saw KT destroy them. Game number 1, we thought, okay, this is the normalcy that we're expecting. LCK champions coming back, and we'll just have their way with the team that really floundered in Kesper Cup, and that made sense. Game 2 came around, and we were like, all right, I'll stand back and let Hanwha Life Esports prove to us that they are deserving of the top 5, and they came in today and did that.
Old adage is always, off-season tournaments mean so little. And yet, SK Telecom fans might agree with that. Griffin fans would disagree. Down 1 fans would also. It's so interesting how every team, the read is different. It feels like the established orgs outside of SKT. I mean, Gen.G were finalists, right?
They were.
And yet, they've come in and just been off the page, even though their early synergy was better than expected. It's funny how the weather reports, the preseason tournaments, the showcases, the on-paper names, it's all situational for each of these squads. There's no one barometer on what's working and what's not, apart from the fact that largely, if you've got young mechanical talents, you're winning.
And also, if you've got talents that have been together for quite some time and built up synergy, you're winning. Griffin are showing us that they are far and away the better team. The only, I guess, example that isn't like that is SKT. But they didn't look as good as this in the Kesper Cup as well. They've now had time to build up that synergy. And if you read Clid's recent interview, which I know you did, we had a conversation about this before, it was about adapting, about changing playstyles, and that's largely to do with why SKT are looking so strong.
I don't know if we'll ever get an accurate answer on this, but will the FLICKR change their approach? Because they're famously a team that shows nothing and is very insular. They play a lot of internal scrims. Maybe the internal scrims are giving them an off read, and you could argue the same was true in the second round robin after Rift Rivals in summer. So a lot of changes on Afreeca's coaching staff as well. So how much of the past can be really cemented? Keen, you know, he did his best in the matchup, but it was never a 1v1. It was a 1v3 again and again. And you might say, what else is happening on the map? Nothing good for the Afreeca Freecs. They could never use the pressure being off in other lanes to translate into any advantages. Watching the bot side here as Afreeca Freecs got that nice engage. Credit to Proud, marking his first good moment as a pro gamer on the highest stage in Korea. But Afreeca Freecs just outplayed so many times, and no one leaves with anything other than Hanwha Life being the deserved winners.
Yeah, and look, Proud, he had some blunders, but that engage was beautiful. Honestly, didn't quite have enough to withstand what is Lava having the most incredible E button I have ever seen in my life. Hanwha Life just played this better as a unit. They drafted for exactly what they wanted to do this game. And Sungyun was a passenger once again, but that's exactly what he wanted.
I agree. Tal comes in, had a very nice side lane.
Watch Lava, just watch Lava.
I'm watching.
Flashes the quickness and gets over and gets the kill after baiting the grand entrance at the beginning.
Gets in, gets out. That's the sort of series it was for Lava and Hanwha Life Esports. Watching the final moments here. Finally, the book is going to be stopped, but damn does it take a lot, Atlas.
Oh man, I think that was a red smite that took him down in the end. We're going to see the damage. It is massive on the side of Lava. 16,000 isn't necessarily a giant number, but it wasn't a very long game, Papa. And he does it mostly in burst. You don't see a LeBlanc at the top of the damage all that often, unless it's your solo queue game where he's 27-0 or something like that.
And a Hanwha Life squad player is probably the only Hanwha Life person to be disappointed here. Mujin not going to be close to a starting spot with how good Bono has been playing. Let's hear more from Hanwha Life, and I hope we get some more probing questions into their preparation because, again, your data points of almost like losing to KG. I want to say almost losing for a second there. I forget.
They got smashed.
Losing to KG and then coming in and going 2-0 in match score. That's a lot of quick adaptation in less than a month.
Yeah, we have to remember that this KG squad had actually won an international tournament, theoretically, in ISF beforehand. They've been playing for a while. They had some good players that are playing elsewhere, but yeah, you're right. It is definitely an amateur team, so losing is embarrassing, but they're not embarrassed anymore. That's 4 wins in a row. And we've got an interview with Lava coming up very, very soon because he will be your MVP like we announced earlier on. 547 damage per minute, 6-1 and 3 on the LeBlanc.
And he's got it all. He's got the looks. He's got the flashy plays. Mr. Lava is so good here. And he was even relatable, Atlas. He misses chains. We saw them.
Exactly.
And then he hits all of the impossible chains to remind us that he's on another level.
He is. Shaggy, eat your heart out. And I feel like there's too many highlight reels, to be perfectly honest. We're probably going to have to cut straight to halfway through the interview.
We should just give a VOD link and show the 3 he missed and say, no, just go watch the rest of it. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Afreeca Freecs just felt like they were in a different game than Hanwha Life Esports.
And the Hanwha Life faithful, the Hanwha fans have been coming in again and again, have had so much to cheer for until it mattered and then things fell away. Maybe it'll be different. They're shooting for 5th or better. Sungyun was very grounded. He can't afford to be the best team outside of playoffs. They just want to make the damn playoffs.
Yes, and they have guaranteed 5th place now because they're the only team in the top 5 that have actually dropped 1 game. But they're still feeling damn good about that because that is still 2 series wins to end week 1 and all of the top 5. 2 and something as far as match wins 2 and 0 and 0 and 2 for the bottom 5. It's a weird, weird story to start LCK 29.
And KT 6th because they won a game.
Yeah. There you go.
That's so weird.
These teams basically even.
So weird.
Yeah, but this is Lava, back-to-back MVP, so we'll have an interview with just him. So let's throw it over to Jisung.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Jisung with today's last interview of the game. And Lava is going to have a solo interview, picking up 2-2 victory from Hanwha Life Esports. It's a good day for you, Lava. How do you feel right now?
일단 되게 오랜만에 대회하면서 MVP 받아서 너무 기쁘고요.
It has been a while for me to pick up an MVP point, but 2-game winning streak is what makes me really happy. Hanwha looks so strong as a team.
약간 감독님의 비밀 훈련 같은 거? 약간
Well,
알려주긴 좀
our
그렇고.
head coach have this special secret training for our teamwork. It's a secret anyway.
언젠가는 저희가 꼭 들어볼 수 있는 날이
We can find it out somehow in the later future.
라바 선수 첫 번째 경기에서 갈리오로
Talking about game 1,
이니시를 제대로 거셨어요.
you engaged a lot with your ultimate, Hero's Entrance. Whose call was that?
저희 조합이 저랑 약간 같이 들어갈
Our
만한
whole
경기가
team
없는 것
composition
같아서 제가 먼저 한타 걸어야 된다 해서
had high reliability on my engagement, so I tried to open team fight as much as possible.
상윤이 형이 있잖아요. 카이사를 선택을 해서
상윤 locked in
마지막
카이사.
한타 때좀
But
직전에
he
죽었어요.
kind of died too early in the last team
그때
fight.
어떠셨나요?
What was going over
상윤
there?
괜찮으셨나요?
Did he say anything special?
싫어하는데 그거 죽고 나서 아 짜증나게 1대 했어.
Sangyun really hates dying, so he said, "Oh, I made when that's over there." So he sounded a little bit sad,
그냥 딱히 팀원들의 반응은
but we
없었고
weren't really
상윤이 혼자 그냥
concerned.
죽어서 약간 뭐라 한 것 같아요.
He was, yeah, it was just Sangyun being sad. We were okay.
네, 그런 상황이었습니다. 자, 두 번째 경기.
Then moving on to game two.
MVP.
네.
다시 한번
All the votes
축하드립니다.
went to
네.
Lava's.
두 번째 경기는 특히
LeBlanc.
라바 선수 밖에 보이지 않았다고 말해도 될
You were the
정도로
highlight
조금
of game
오버해서
two.
그런 느낌이 있었는데요.
네.
르블랑을 솔랭에서도 많이 하시더라고요.
You play
승률이
LeBlanc
굉장히
along,
좋던데
LeBlanc a lot
이
at
경기
solo
때는
queue games
전적반이
as well.
강했고요.
네.
이 경기
And
때
they kind of
꺼내시면서
target
어떤
banned
마음이셨어요?
LeBlanc out of you.
일단 솔랭에서도 승률 좋고 스크림에서도 꽤 승률 좋게 나와서
I think
자신
I
있게
have
비겼는데
really high win
이
rates
경기 때
both in
벤상에서
solo queue and also
이게 할수
scrims.
있는 상황 나와서
When they banned it out, I was a little bit
네,
worried,
아마
but it was really happy to play her in game two.
상대팀이 조금 마음이 쓰릴 것 같다는
아.
네, 생각이 듭니다. 자, 메자이를 올리셨어요.
And you
네.
bought
죽지
Mejai
않을 것이다, 이런
in game
자신감이
two.
있었나요?
Were you confident that you were not gonna die?
약간 메자이를 제가 좀 잘 줬거든요, 은근히.
I actually die a lot,
메자이를 사면 더 안 죽는
but if
것도
I buy
있고,
Mejai,
그리고 그
maybe
아무리
I can
스택
play a
쌓았을
little
때
bit
메자이
more
사면 이속 스코어를 주는 게
defensively.
있단 말이에요.
And also I got full
그
stack
효과가
for
되게
my
저는 좋은 것
Dark
같아서
Seal, so
미드라인으로서 그래서 사게
and it
됐어요.
has really good effects with
메자이를 올리면
movement
조금
speed.
죽지
So I think
않아야겠다는
Mejai is a
마음이
really good item
강해지면서
also.
실제로도
네, 효율도 좋은.
네, 알겠습니다. 메자이를 꼭 활용해봤으면 좋겠다는 생각이
So I guess
르블랑 하시는
Mejai
분들은요,
is a really
그런
good
생각이 들고요.
item for
자,
LeBlanc
LCK에서
players.
유독 약한 모습을 보여준 카이사, 상윤 형님의 카이사가
Kaisa actually has a very low win rate at LCK, but Sangyun played two Kaisa in a row. Was that his own
일단
opinion?
여러 가지 원딜이 있었는데
We had a lot of
상윤이
cards
카이사를
open.
좀 하고 싶은 표현을 많이 하긴
But
했어요.
Sangyun, yeah, he kind
그래서
of
상윤이 형 의견대로
expressed that
카이사
he
쪽으로
really
했던
wants to
것
play
같아요.
Kaisa, so we
그리고
were
제가
trying to let him
잠시
play it.
여쭤보고 싶었던 게 있는데
네.
메자이를 올리고
So I have this one
죽지
question.
않으시다가
네.
마지막에
But after you bought Mejai,
네.
you
죽었어요.
died in the very
그때
last minute of
얼마나
the game.
아쉬우셨나요?
Weren't you really sad?
그래도 죽어도 게임 끝나니까
Well, the game was
괜찮더라고요.
over anyway,
so
네,
I
게임
wasn't really
끝났으면 좀
sad.
서러울 뻔했는데.
If the
끝내서
game did not
다행이네요.
end, I might have been quite
계속
sad,
좋은
but it was
모습
okay.
보여주다가 마지막
We closed out the
때라서
game.
아쉬움이 조금 덜 했던 것 같습니다.
네.
자, 상대 레드 쪽 한타에서 빼는
And the
판단을
team fight
하셔서 한타도
near the
이기고
opponent's
팀
red
전원
jungle.
생존을 하는 상황이 있었어요.
Oh, the
네.
Hana Life
본인의
players were
판단이었나요?
able
아니면
to
팀적인 콜이
escape
있었나요?
out of the team fight
그때
without
아마
dying.
상대팀 리산드라가 탑에 텔 타고 제가 라인
So Yukao using his TP on the top
탑에
lane.
보여서 이거 쪼이면서 싸우자고 팀원 콜도
So
나오고 저만 내려간다
all the
하니까
teammates
싸움 보자에서
said,
그냥 다
let's
같이 봤던 것
open
같아요.
team fight
팀원
over
네,
here. So we were just trying to play as a whole team to open team fight and win the game.
라바 선수 얘기 잘 들어봤고요. 다음 상대가
Your next
그리핀이에요.
opponent
네.
will be
만만치 않은
Griffin.
상대인데
It's not an easy opponent. Are you ready for that?
힘든 상대지만
It
이렇게
can be a
저희 할
challenge
거
for
하고
us,
노력하면
but
충분히 이길
if
수
we
있다 생각하고
if we
더
just trying to
열심히
do our best
연습해서
doing our
꼭
role,
승리로 보답하겠습니다.
I think we might be the one picking up the victory. We're going to do our best.
마지막으로 오늘
The very final question.
1주년이라고 합니다.
Today is the 12th
알고
1-year
계셨나요?
anniversary of his
네,
LCK
어느 정도는
debut.
알고 있어요.
Did you know that?
네, 트라이 선수에게
Yes, I did.
축하한다고 한마디
And yes, is there any message for him?
일단
First of all,
1주년 축하드리고요.
congratulations
앞으로 항상
on your 1-year
기탈 가탈하면서
anniversary, and I hope you keep
고마울 것
carrying the
같습니다.
game. Thank you.
사랑합니다.
I love you.
저희 팀원.
I love all my
네,
teammates.
사랑한다고까지 전해주셨습니다. 오늘 라바 선수와 함께한 행복한 인터뷰였고요.
This is
다음
very happy
경기도
interview with
기대해
Lava
보도록
from Hana Life
하겠습니다.
Esports,
저 인터뷰는
and
여기서 마치겠습니다.
I'm going to pass it back to our
다음 주에
casters.
돌아올게요.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ji-sun. And very wholesome hearing from Lava and hearing from Hanwha players just in general. I feel like this is a team that is going to pick up a lot of fans this year if they can keep especially winning like they are, but also winning in the way that they win as well. And up against Griffin, that's going to be a really tall order. Still predicting a 2-0 for Griffin on that one, but I think they'll be sneaking victories from a lot of the other teams throughout this whole season.
Again, it's so early, so we can't know if they will contend further than they did in the past, but they've always run it so close. As we see, they are the only fifth-place team. We have 4 teams who cannot be separated. Amazingly, Sandbox among them, as Sandbox, Griffin, Damwon Gaming, and SKT are all equal first. When it comes to 6th, KT is better purely because they won a single game. And apparently, Afreeca, Kingzone, Jinna, Green Wings, and Gen G are all equally left with nothing at the bottom of the table. You have to imagine these standings will change. But by how much, Atlas, when it comes to the end of the season? There'll be 18 matches played. But we get to look forward to next week, and isn't it amazing that we opened the week with one of our best possible fixtures for a couple of years, and now it looks like relegation fodder?
Well, actually, you're wondering who's actually better out of these two squads as well, and that answer could actually be quite up in the air. At the moment, it feels like KT might have a slight edge because they won one game, at least, but Hanwha Life Esports versus Griffin, both teams that are 2-0 in match score, and I don't know what that game is going to bring. It will be exciting to see what Tarzan can make of Bono's improvement.
My games of the week, Damwon Gaming versus Griffin on
Absolutely.
Friday, SKT versus Damwon Gaming on Sunday. Damwon look better than they did at Casper Cup, that part's for sure. They took down SKT in Casper Cup, so there is a retribution match there. What if they end next week with 2 match wins? Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be absolutely ridiculous. And then we've got week following where Griffin will fight against SKT. 31st of January will be that one, but next week, Damwon get to prove themselves, see what getting a world champion coach has done for the squad, and so far, that's a 2-0 squad. But guys, that is it for week 1. We'll see you back here on Wednesday for week 2.
Told me to be myself and never feel alone. You're all that I want, you're all that I need. If I was ever in the dark, I'd